Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present to you the premiere episode of Goddess Rap, broadcasting live from the Goddess Rap Station Universe. We present to you Mama Gabit and Mama Meri talking about sisterhood. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together and show your love for Goddess Prayer.
What's up? What's up, Em? Thank you for that lovely, wonderful introduction, Born. We appreciate that. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's doing good. I know I'm feeling relaxed right now. Feeling real good.
Yes, where are my insomniacs at? I know y'all
Right.
on here.
Who's scrolling on their phones on Facebook right now? Drinking them a Corona, right? Today we come to you to talk about sisterhood. What about sisterhood, right? What does sisterhood mean to you, Marie Nettert?
To me? Huh. I mean, I think that, well, first of all, I feel like I'm just groomed to be a sister. Like, I come from a family of mostly girls. That's why I swore up and down when I had my two. Both times I was pregnant, I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna have a boy." I just know it. I feel it in my bones. And came out with two beautiful girls. Both times. I swore it's gonna be a boy. But it seeing them two like that adds a whole nother dimension to sisterhood. Like, I don't know, like just seeing them, like, okay, something that I love to do to torture them is when they're beefing or they get into a fight or whatever, I make them hug. I love it. And just seeing them hug, like it's I just love it. But yeah, sisterhood, like, yeah, I've gotten out of some jams, uh, you know, by the help of my sisters, for real. Um, Covering for me in certain regards, doing my hair. I really need a sister right now in this Corona era. Hi, there got one of our other sisters, Miss G.
Sis, right? You really need a sister.
Them shades, got them shades.
Love them shades, sis. Make sure y'all check Misty out with Goddess Drip. She makes sure she'll get you looking fly all the time. I got like a couple pair of
I wear my
earrings. I
sunglasses
love
at
my
night.
sunglasses. She's dope. So make sure y'all check Goddess Drip out. Yes. So y'all heard Marie talk about what sisterhood is, right? So I'm gonna tell y'all what sisterhood is to me. And I come from a family of nothing but girls. My mom had nothing but girls. So I can tell y'all all about sisterhood, the good, the bad, the ugly. Um, Sisterhood to me is real important because it's one where you can connect on a deeper level. You can relate as it relates to this, similar experiences that you may share. Even with me, I have two older sisters, so I had the experience of gaining wisdom that I wouldn't be privy to if I was the oldest. I would have to learn based on experience, but sometimes I was able to be put up on game because they went through it or they were dealing with similar things. So having that aspect and in my adulthood, having the impact of spiritual sisters that come in your life, such as Marie, man, it's been on a whole nother level. So I'm appreciative of sisterhood. It's one where hey, like we can sit there and relate. We could talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. But at the end of the day, that's my sister, and we relate as sisters. So it's all love. So that's what sisterhood is for me, and that's what it's all about. Really, that love. Generosity, really caring. It's hard out here to really find somebody that you can connect with, someone that you can be your raw, open self, because a lot of times you have people that are judgmental and you can never open up. But true sisterhood is definitely one where you can be yourself, you can open up, and hey, at the end of the day, it's all love.
And I think on that note, like it kind of triggered a thought, but
Mhm.
the idea of like connection is a big one. Like I think as women, a lot of times we in our romantic relationships be trying to look for a man to be emotionally available at all times, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it don't work like that. So um you really need a sister sometimes to just bounce off different ideas, to kind of give you some perspective, tell you when you're tripping. And yeah, especially, when you're dealing with like some heavy things, and you don't feel like it's safe in your relationship, um, to talk about it. Like, I think one of the things that women are really good at is we kind of trade, we're always, sometimes oversharing, but trading like our lessons, things that we like challenges that we go through, and like things that we you know learn from those. Like we're really open about that kind of stuff. So um yeah, it's a relationship that's like made for growth, because there's a level of, ideally there should be a level of honesty that is difficult to create in other relationships. And it's something that it transcends like just blood uh relationships. Like I think, yeah, I have so many sisters, not just blood related, but um you know my my family, Henensu, um you know yeah, I have sisters everywhere actually. uh just reconnected with one of my homies from college, and that was nice. Like I think it becomes a form of like self-care, really, at the end of the day, when you get to reconnect with one of your old friends. And especially like right now with everything that's going on um in the world, it kind of brings perspective to what's really important in life, and that's your relationships.
Yeah, I mean, even with you bringing up reconnecting, that for me is big. It allows me to be able to gauge where I've been and where I'm at currently. And I know it's a friend of mine. Well, we don't talk, often, but when we reconnect, it's good to see, where you're at, what you're doing, even as it relates to my spiritual journey, just us engaging. It's just like, yo, you're so much further than where you used to be. And it's like that raw perception of yourself is sometimes what you need. And like you said, it's one where you cannot always get it from your spouse, or you can't always get it from a male point of view. And when it's coming from a sister, like it's that, it's deeper. It's like I can respect you on your level, your growth, us connecting, even us building and growing together, branding things together, such as, what we're doing with Goddess Rap. So that right there in itself makes it unique. So I have to talk about my sister here. Meri, our relationship has been one where I can say nothing but positive things about this sister right here. Like this is my girl. This is my girl. Like and you shall never part. Look. But yeah, I mean, when I speak about somebody that can keep it real, that's genuine, someone I care about, I go to war for, so y'all better not come for my sister. Let me stop. But I love this sister right here. And like I said, our relationship has been one where we can be open with each other, um, you know, be spiritual, grow together, motivate one another. Hey, that right there sounds like a good recipe to me. So this sister right here, this my sister right here, y'all. So, I love her and she knows I love her. And, you know, we're growing in this thing together and it's a beautiful thing. So
Oh shoot, you know. And now I gotta gush over her. Like she already giving y'all this big dose of chocolate right here. But I was thinking about as I was kind of reflecting on the topic for tonight, thinking about how um how little girls are little girls, like with their little like baby dolls, how every little girl at one point had some kind of doll that they like just loved and took everywhere. And like that right there kind of highlights um almost like an instinctual desire for companionship, and also to like nurture and care um for another life. And so in that, you have, it's almost hardwired to have somebody that you can kind of share your life experience with, somebody that you can talk to, that you can share your secrets with, and that's not gonna like take them and sell them to World Star or whatever. But yeah, like I'll say that coming up, right, I was definitely a wallflower, if you guys can't tell. Didn't have too many friends. But as I've gotten older and I'm starting to come into my own, and was blessed to have the company of Gabit, and company of other strong women who have always come out and like embraced me and supported me in what I'm doing on every level. That is like, I don't know, it's so awesome, like, to have that happen. And like even now, like this show wouldn't have happened without that that phenomenon we call sisterhood. Like, I had pitched well, first of all, Gabit pitched the idea for the show, and this is like some years ago. And life happened. We kind of put it on the back burner. I brought it back around because I'm like, yeah, Gabit, what about this show that you was mentioning? You ready to do that? You want to do it? And she like, yeah. But not only did she say yeah, but she chose to bring me along on the journey. Like I can't think of a better example um, of like how sisterhood has kind of played out in my life. The idea of, you advancing and, you know, moving forward with your goals and bringing along your sister, like, and elevating her in that. So I said all that to say, I love you, boo. Thank you.
Look, she had to give y'all the mama spill on it. Got me over here about to be in tears. Oh man. But it's all love, and that's what it's about. Like she said, that's sisterhood. That's organic sisterhood. One where I think a lot of time, a lot of us feel like in order for something to be real, like you have to deal with some trauma. Like sometimes it's good and refreshing to have something that's been 100% real from the beginning to now. Like I said, when I say this is not for live, like I have no and have had no issues with my sister, and it's always been love. So on this journey, in order for me to talk about sisterhood and want to meet more sisters, how can I not include a sister and include my sister? So we're here, and Goddess Rap is this is just the beginning, the first episode. We're here talking about sisterhood, talking about our journey, sharing it with the world, looking to make an impact on somebody's life. Like this right here um has been a great experience thus far. Like this whole journey, the support that we have received, um, it's amazing. Sometimes I'm like, oh wow, it's overwhelming sometimes because it's like, wow, really? Like this, this support, this love, just seeing the growth and the potential and what we're trying to do is definitely amazing. So hey, I love you too, Mama. I love you too. So I know, based on one of our sisters in Henensu wanted us to definitely discuss this point, and as it relates to what all that's going on with COVID-19, you have to be up on your stuff. If this hasn't taught you anything, it should teach you that you need to be up on your stuff. Make sure you know about different herbs, um, even as it relates to preparing your own meals, starting a garden. I know me and my husband will be starting a garden soon. So even in that infancy stages of getting the ground right, building everything, this is an important time to connect with sisters, with anybody that you have in your circle that can tell you about planting different herbs, what to do, what to look out for, what is best. And I know that within our sisterhood, we share information like crazy, whether it be recipes, different activities you can do with your kids, um, different educational tips, beauty tips. Like we share it all. Just because COVID-19 going on, who says you can't be beautiful? What say? What can't be fly? Oh, okay. But so with all that
Speaking
said,
of, I'm gonna need that contouring tutorial, all of that. I need that.
hey, look, and we ended up dropping a video too last Friday, so that in itself showed that hey, we ain't playing no games. COVID-19, the sisters came to show y'all that hey, even despite this, we can still get cute, have a little fun, um, despite all that's going on. But if you need any tips and are preparing or wanting to prepare a garden, just hit me up. We can go through the struggle together. We can pass some tips and things out because I know that we'll be starting that project soon. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so of course, as a priestess, I will be remiss if I didn't mention, um, how my cosmology is kind of anchored my views on sisterhood and like my appreciation for it and my understanding of it. One of the forces that kind of pops up into my head as it relates to sisterhood is Nebtet, right? So Nebhet, if you guys don't are unfamiliar with her, she's a lot of times depicted with Auset or Isis in her Greek name. And so Nebhet, she represents divine sisterhood. In fact, that's one of her epithets. And she's also called the divine helper. She's somebody who, their relationship is kind of marked by tragedy. But, beyond all of that, she's a force that deals with like physical earth, beauty, manifestation. She's deals with materialism a little bit. And most importantly, I think for the context of this conversation, she deals with service and companionship. But she's kind of like an obscure force that you don't really get a clear understanding of her without looking at Auset. Like her whole everything is kind of defined by her relationship with her sister. Like, you can see it in her name of divine helper. So anyway, the story goes, right, that she's locked in this relationship with, this man who, he's in a tear. So, he can give her everything, like any material thing that, her heart lusts after. But the relationship is kind of a miserable one because he's somebody who is kind of burdened by some demons of jealousy, some hatred that he has for his brother. And those demons, whatever you want to call them, they kind of take over him. So he becomes difficult to be around. And, she's content for a while. She loses herself in, retail therapy. Until one day, the story goes, she goes for a visit to see her sister, right? So her sister and her husband, Oser, had thrown like this big party, right? Kind of like a welcome home party because, he had gone off on a campaign to kind of share his teachings and share different ideas with neighboring communities, neighboring kingdoms. So anyway, Nebtet, right? She goes and she stays with her sister for a little bit, and she notices how in love her sister is with, her husband, how in love they are. And she kind of, becomes overcome with jealousy and yearning for that, and she has a thought that maybe, if she could just spend one night with him, right, that would put a lid on that. So the story goes, right, that she pretty much tricks Oser into sleeping with her, right? So she is not only Auset's sister, she's her twin sister. So because they look alike, she kind of got an advantage. Um, anyway, the whole party is drunk, and she slips into her sister's bedchamber, um, and kind of disguises herself as her sister, and you know, does a deed, sleeps with her sister's husband, and then after she slips off. So months later, um, she discovers she's pregnant, right, from that night, and she confesses everything to Offset, her sister. And so she's so like depressed and just overcome with guilt that she tries to take her own life, and she wants to end the life of her seed, right? But Offset comes in and rescues her. She intervenes. Offset is always depicted as the merciful, compassionate, um, forgiving spirit. Um, and she comes in, she saves the day, right? So uh, she takes Nebhet into her home, takes in the baby, and the story goes on further. If you're familiar with like the Osirian drama, um, you know how it ends. And I'm not gonna go into that right now for you know, save it for another day. But I wanted to bring it up because it kind of highlights how you know, highlights the relationship um as one of healing, one of forgiveness, and one of compassion. And like, I think it's the ultimate sister story, and it's one that I think it has to become, or it should become a good framework for us as Black women. Like instead of being at each other's throats all the time, like we're conditioned to do, uh, we can look to stories like these, um, and learn and be inspired. And you know that relationship, the relationship between Offset and Nebhet, they're tested by all kinds of challenges, and they survive. So yeah, I had to bring that up.
Yes, definitely. Like she said, as a priestess, um, it was definitely good to bring that up to give y'all an insight on another level of sisterhood. Um, and I know that while she was speaking, we had some questions, and we definitely want to get to those questions. Please keep them coming. If we're speaking, we definitely going to get to the questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to keep them coming. So I know we had a question. The question was, what are some things sisters can do to steer clear of certain roadblocks that stagnate sisterhood? Or you want to take a turn at that, or you want me to go first? I didn't know if you had
Oh,
something that popped up when I read that. I didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt what
this
may
is
have
this
popped
is my
up.
rock when I'm trying to get into the double dutch flow.
Yeah,
Um,
that double dutch.
yeah, you take that one. You take
Okay.
that first leg.
I got you. I just wanted to make sure you wasn't trying to go nowhere. But what I would say first and foremost, as it relates to sisters and stagnations that can block true sisterhood, would be this, oh, she may be better than me, or this fear complex. It's a fear complex. Sometimes a lot of people can't fathom somebody else being great, but if you view it as y'all are being great together, you wouldn't have to really worry about somebody else's success. Also being able to recognize and understand what true sisterhood is first and foremost. So let me go back. Understanding what that looks like, what it is, what it isn't. Um, Understanding your flaws as it relates to sisterhood. Um, what you contribute, what are you bringing to the table? A lot of times, if we put in that same effort that we want back, there wouldn't be any stagnations. But a lot of times, if we're being honest, we can cause stagnations. We can sometimes have what I want to say. You have jealousy within, sisters against sisters. You have people being envious of one another. But if we can learn to come together, recognize what sisterhood is, what it isn't, how we can learn to work together, truly work together, whether that be cultivating land, whether it be helping out raising babies, teaching the babies, whether it be doing some hair, doing some, makeup tips. Like when you realize that everybody can be successful in their own aspect of things, then you learn that about balance, and there's no room for stagnation. There's room for everybody to grow. Like we said, if we take it back to goddess rap, when I thought of goddess rap, I could have easily pitched this to Meri and said, hey, this is what I want to do. And hey, would you support me? And just, left it at that. But no, when I saw my sister and recognized how this could be also beneficial to her in her life, I had to include her. So even when you look at it from that point of view, it can be nothing but successful. So when you ask the question of what could cause women to have stagnation, I would say not understanding what true sisterhood is, how they can also show true sisterhood. And man, sometimes you may be dealing with some issues and be like, oh, screw her. Sometimes you just got to work through that stuff. Every relationship isn't perfect. Not telling or suggesting anybody to stay in any toxic relationship. I think you can truly assess a toxic relationship from one that just needs a little bit of work. You gotta both figure out how y'all can coincide together. Peace, sis, peace. How y'all can work together, work through all that stuff. Cause I know I've been in different relationships as it relates to sisterhood, and it hasn't always been good. But I know that even on my end of the deal, I try to always make a conscious effort to make things work, to bridge the gap, to find a resolution to the issue and move forward. And that's what it should always be about. And I support all my sisters, and I believe that we can all be successful. We can all be great.
Ooh, dang. Maybe I should have went first. You done said everything. No, I think I'm thinking about the like times where it's been other than peace in in some of my sister relationships. And I think staying committed to, seeing all of us, grow. Like that helps, just reminding myself that when, we get into it and, I start, because that's the petty stuff start coming in. You like, oh, you said this and this and this and this. And it's like, well, if this woman has my best interests in heart and I, for her, then I shouldn't take offense to, the things that are coming out of her mouth. So, just trying to remind myself of that always. Being honest and speaking up when, things happen. Like if there's, some kind of transgression or issue that pop off, speaking about it in that moment instead of letting it, drag on. And yeah, just letting one another be one another. Like, knowing can't nobody replace nobody else. Yeah, just being yourself, respecting one another. Like, yeah, I think that there are things that apply in your relationships as sisters. The same thing applies in, your romantic relationships and, you know, any one of your relationships. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. That's the best I got.
Look, we try to stay away from stagnation as much as possible as it relates to our sisterhood. I promise y'all that. So even with that question, we appreciate it, and I'm glad. I hope that we answered your question to your liking, my husband, since you asked the question. I hope you was able to get some clarity on that right there. But yeah, I know from my experience, within sisterhood and our sisterhood as it relates to Henensu, man, we try to stay drama free, man. And we try to stay from that stagnation. It's all about, uplifting, working through any issues you got. Like, I think we touched on this earlier, just talking about just genuinely being open and not worrying about, is this gonna be on World Star tomorrow? I think Meri said that, but hey, like, you just gotta, when you genuinely care and you genuinely want to make something work, it'll show. It'll show. And I think in anything, in any exchange, like she said, in any relationship, it's all about reciprocity. You have to be willing to give what you want in return. Like, you can't just want to get all the time. Sometimes you have to give. And you have to learn that even exchange between, giving, not in receiving, not just wanting to receive all the time. You have to give. You got to help out. And do things from your heart. Like, what would our communities look like with African sisterhood at its full potential? Ooh. I can say off top, it'll look great. That would be dope. Meri, what you think? What you think it'll look like? I mean, I see dopeness. I see sisters coming together. I see, us raising the babies together. I see a community thriving. I see a community flourishing on a whole nother level. And not taking anything away from the men, as we do adore you all, Black men. But when you look at the mothers, and the mothers, they are the backbone to the matriarch as it relates to family, the lineage. When you look at the mama and big mama and whatever Nama, whatever they may call them, they are typically the backbone to the family. So if you look at that on a larger scale with African women coming together collectively, man, when you say homes having more happiness, less stress, because you have that sisterhood to rely on as it relates to times of troubles in the household, with the babies cutting up. You have a sister that can relate to you. There's a sister that's saying, hey, I noticed that you've been dealing with this. I see them babies, send them babies over here. Get you a, a free night.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see. I see, sisters working together. I see us coming together as a collective, uplifting and nurturing, doing festivals. Man, I see, I see it all. I see greatness when I see that. Um, us really coming together. That right there, that in itself will be extremely dope. Extremely dope. Like I will for that day.
Yeah, I mean it's happening in pockets. Uh, you know, I think about initiatives like Black Girls Rock or um, you know, uh even some of the meetups that happen, like um it's all about networking and um helping lift one another up. So I think that you know it's something that is happening. uh is just breaking through that glass ceiling and making those stories get more visibility. Like uh I think that's really what um the issue is not so much like whether or not this exists, but it's like, are they getting the attention? No, because it's some other agendas. But yeah. Somebody said I seen no ass whooping.
Oh goodness. Yes. Yes, our beauty salons will be packed with with beautiful hairstyles. Man, I would love to see a lot of, African hairdos. I know I seen a sister post a nice little dude that was like some tribal braids. Man, like we are creative in a on a whole nother level. Let's just say that we as Africans are creative on a whole nother level. So us coming together, utilizing our talents and experiences, um, to network, to come together, to build a community, is one that is definitely gonna be a beautiful thing just because of how creative we are. Like it's definitely one that every time I look at a brother or a sister and their gifts and talents, I'm amazed at the level of creativity that they have. I'm like, wish I could do that. Yeah. So it's definitely one um, where I'm thankful for the experiences that I'm able to experience within the African community. Just the love in general. Like when they say like Black people can't get together and have a good time, like where? Like I've seen that, I've experienced that. So all of that, oh, it can't happen, or it can happen. That's why, even going back to what I was saying as it relates to organic sisterhood and knowing, well, you have to know what does sisterhood look like? What does um Africans in our organic state look like? Well, we can get along. We can party. We can work through differences. We can do all that the media don't put out there and portray to the world. We can do those things. I've been there. I've experienced those things. So all of that is definitely one that is a lovely experience for me. And as it relates to talking about sisterhood, we will be having one of our sisters come on and discuss her experience within sisterhood, her experience within sisterhood with us. So We are thankful for our Sinet Amina. Peace.
Okay,
It's that poo.
boo.
It's that
Yes.
poo.
Um, Thank y'all for having me. Look, we going through it now. We experiencing it now, and I I would love to see it, branch out and in regards to sisterhood. Sisterhood within Henensu has been awesome. And give me 1 second so I can get in the area. Okay, sorry about that. We in here party. My children got the TV in the background. Going we up late on this Saturday night. So yeah, definitely definitely in Henensu and just being a part of um with us coming together, just pulling our resources together, like you said, that building, and it's good practice and it's good uh I don't know, it's stress relieving too, because you got somebody you can depend on. Like it's just authentic, and the perception and the foundation we uh we come together, it makes it a lot easier too to just have that culture, within this. Um, that's like a tool, importance too. Um, I don't know. Y'all know I'll be on here.
look,
Live.
look, she trying to act shy, y'all, for the live. Let me stop. But Sis and Koyo said, and I wanna definitely shout her out on that. She said it would be more unity, nation building, nurturing of earth and children, more boundaries and consequences made known, more upliftment, more families intact, less hunger and homelessness. I can agree with
Mhm.
everything 100%. Um, as I was saying, as it related to that question, um, it'll be a beautiful thing if we learn to work together and learn that we can work together and stop believing in what the media portrays or what some of the ignorant of us believe that, oh, we can't do this. We can be great. All of what she said in that is possible. Is definitely possible. So
Yes, like, and not be
True.
so threatened by, if we could stop being so threatened by one another, um, and just share more. Like, I think we notice a big shift in just doing that.
exactly. And Amina, while I got you on here, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Why don't you tell
Mhm.
the viewers about your relationship as it relates to sisterhood with Marie and I? Yep, I put you on the spot just like
Yeah,
that.
I think I kind of spilled the beans coming.
Mhm.
Like, we live in it right now, coming together, uh, building together, planning together, you know, branding together. Like we doing that now, and I say, hey, I look forward to continuing, and I see, the outcome. Like I said, it's just doing that. These two right here, yeah, you have to kind of come through me. Like it's no problem. And then like she said, when you find that genuine, and it's just funny too how our tradition, how our culture, I say, play into it because of just the cosmetic order of it, just understanding of that, and how that just played a part um, with us coming together. So uh, I don't know. I hope I answered the question a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
Okay,
You could
I
get
love y'all.
as personal as you want. Hey, we keeping it real on Goddess Rap. We want y'all to have an organic view of what sisterhood is about. What we're about. Um, we have another question. How important is healing of self when approaching sisterhood? Whoa.
Yeah.
First, wait, listen. First things first.
That's for everyone.
Anything in any relationship, healing of self is required. Like, in order to have, I would say, a 100% successful relationship where y'all don't have any odds or differences, is being able to truly heal yourself. Once you've mastered that, everything else, is good. But I would say with people, you have to, I guess, actually identify what you need to heal from. And from experience, and I know, other people can say the same thing, not everything can be brought out of you from everybody. You might not know you got to work on some things that could be, old traumas, old triggers, until you get into certain relationships or meet certain individuals. But even in the midst of that, it's still a beautiful experience because it's about growing. It's about realizing the things that you need to heal, realizing the things that that you need to work on. Um, yeah, self-healing is really important. I don't feel like nothing can truly flourish until you're able to master that. You have to be able to heal yourself in order to now flourish this relationship, now to be able to nourish this to its full potential. How can you do so if you're not able to or willing to work on things that you need to heal within self?
Yes, I think I don't know, like healing is a process that is a never ending thing, and the people that are around you are really a reflection of, you know, some inside stuff. So I think that you know, challenges are always going to come up, and you know, you have to deal with them. Like, if there's an issue between you and somebody, you have to be able to distinguish between um you know, your inner issues and, you know, what's a legitimate uh concern within the relationship, like just part of that dynamic. um and I think you can't do that if you're not grounded in yourself, if you don't own your stuff. Like, if you don't do that, you just run the risk of projecting everything on that person, and there's no room for growth. Your relationship is stagnated. So um honesty, being honest with yourself above all things, that's the only way, you know, you can make sure that your relationships are on the up and up. Oh, yeah. How have you been tested, and what shifts in mindset or perspective have taken place in you as a result of embracing sisterhood? Oh,
Mm.
asking these heavy, asking all them questions. Oh, no.
Asking all the questions.
Mm,
Huh. Well, hmm, I've been tested.
I would just
um,
say,
Go ahead, Amina.
I was about to say, I could say, that accountability, that's that's one of those things, like she was speaking on. That's like the
Mm-hmm.
ultimate test, with yourself, like, and telling that truth to yourself, and that self check constantly. I could say that's a big for me.
I would say, as it relates to tests that I've been put through, as it relates to sisterhood, it's one where I've been tested on a multitude of levels. And it's all been a thing that has helped me grow, helped me realize weak points, strengthen my ability to succeed the next go round when I'm faced with certain situations within another system or another individual. Um, it's also caused me to grow. It's caused me to become better than who I was in the past. Looking at how to view things out of my own perspective. Sometimes we can get so hung up in through a relationship as it relates to sisters, or I don't need her, or we good because of how we feel, and our perception is the only perception that matters. And sometimes in the midst of troubles within sisterhood council and just going through experiences, I've learned to look at things from their perspective, understand why this person is doing what they're doing. Maybe it's not so much that it's you. You could have nothing to do with anything. It could be some healing that that individual has to do. And when you look at it from that point of view, when you look at it from when I put on my priestess hat, that's where I'm able to see growth. That's where I'm able to look at somebody outside of just what I'm physically seeing, what I'm physically going and look for a solution in the midst of that. Um, I've learned to take the high road sometimes in the midst of situations such as adversities within sisterhood, meaning where I'm not going to blast anything publicly. I'm not going to be demeaning. I'm going to, hey, let's work through this. How can we fix any issues that we have going on? And I think those tests have come to make me a better individual, make me a better sister to a sister. So yeah, I would say I've been tested a lot, but I know tests and the adversities, it only comes to make me better. It only comes to make me better as it relates to even making an impact or building newer relationships with sisters in the future. So yeah, Marie, did you have anything you want to say on that note?
Um, I'm thinking about, you know, examples. Uh, where one of the things that, you know, was a big issue, um, is a big issue is you know, respecting the privacy of conversation, like keeping certain things confidential and not you know, putting it on blast
Right.
to everybody. Um and there was a situation um where that had been tested in one of my sister friend sisterhood friendships, and that lesson was specific to me at that time because I was, I think, going back to some of the points that we brought earlier, and even, you know, Mama and Koyo, she's hitting it right on the head, like owning your shits. Self healing is number one in dealing with sisterhood. In order to
Right.
see someone else's feelings, happiness, shit, and faults with love, you have to love yourself first and deal with your mommy, daddy, uh, ex abandonment issues. It helps with not taking shit personal and also having and showing empathy.
Right. Right.
Yes. Going back to that point in my life, I was looking for um sharing certain things with this person and looking for validation. and confirmation. And the better thing would have been just to keep counsel with myself and recognize that, you know, at the end of the day, right, you have to be confident within yourself, um, and speak from the position of authority that experience gives you, and just leave it at that. So, you know, you're not ambushing somebody with your feelings and not letting this person ambush you. And also, um you know when to throttle your tongue, if that makes sense. So, in this situation with, the sis, um our relationship it it didn't survive that issue. After that, we kind of went our separate ways. But it was one that it caused a shift in me, because it let me, it allowed me to recognize something that I was doing, um, that I needed to correct. And that's, you know, trying to look for validation. Um, and also, I think, for her, um, I think, I don't know, it was just, it might have just been, a seasonal friendship.
You have those.
It's
You
it's
you
it takes work to recognize when you know when it's a seasonal thing and when it's the life. I think for
right.
this person as well, um, she was dealing with like some emotional instability within herself. Like, it goes back to that part of owning your stuff and being honest with yourself before, you know you get any kind of counsel from somebody else. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, both of us were dealing with that same thing, but just in a different kind of spin, I guess.
Okay, and Koyo said definitely addressing what needs to be addressed in person and privately. I have needed to not jump every time someone speaks ill of me or my tribe. I've had to go within and fight and not outside because I've been a fighter. And when I perceive you as against me, I no longer labeled you as hands off from my fire. Learning to effectively communicate my thoughts and feelings and learning when to not let it all hang out and make a big deal of nothing. So, and she was agreeing with you, Marie. Validation is key.
Yes,
So,
and
I agree with everything that she said. And I think that that's one of the issues that we can see within sisterhood. Like, sometimes we're emotional beings, and even understanding how to utilize our emotions effectively will help bridge that gap within the sisterhood as well. Knowing how to be less vocal sometimes. Sometimes you do have to go within. You have to reflect, not be so quick to respond. Sometimes, like I said, you can perceive a certain situation to be something that is totally not. Sometimes that's why having that self-reflection, going within, not responding always with a hot head all the time is definitely one, and is beneficial for sisterhood, as well as what Marie spoke on. also understanding and being okay with understanding that people come in your life sometimes for a season. They not here all you can't expect every individual to come to you that's going to be there forever. It's not going to happen. A lot of times that individual came to your life to teach you something that you needed to be taught. Whether how big or small it is, it's definitely one that can assist you in your life's journey. They're just not meant to be here all the time. And you have to be okay with that. Just even with um unrealistic things, I think unrealistic expectations. Oh well, she can't be my sis because she don't call me every day. People got lives. It ain't nothing personal. Sometimes sis might be struggling, might not know how she gonna pay her bills, might be dealing with some issue she don't want to discuss. And that's okay. Sometimes we have to be okay with giving, one another that respective space and allowing them to be them. A lot of times, a lot of relationships can't flourish, whether it be sisterhood, uh, spouses, marriages, because we have this unrealistic expectation and we won't allow one another to be who they are without all of the judgment and she got to do this. Let that sister be her. Help that sister, of course, if she's falling off a little on the wayside on a swing or something, she about to fall off. Assist her, make sure she can get her footing. But man, let one another be free to be who they are. And I think that with all that being said, we can go further. So Born has a question. Marie, you wanna read that question?
Let's see. How do you rid yourself of infallibility and embrace self accountability when approaching sisterhood? Huh. Um. Well, I mean, it helps. It helps me having an African traditional spiritual system as my backbone. Like, I know that when you have a certain force that governs your head, as part of that worldview, right, there's things that your are your strong suits. There's things that you got to work on, and the process of correcting those things that you got to work on is is always going on. It's always you're always in that process of correction. So just striving to be my best self, like always working on that. I write a lot. I have moments where I'll do some reflection, uh, introspective moments like meditation that helps me. And yeah, that it really, like, writing specifically, and just taking those moments out throughout the day, where I can kind of reflect, helps me catch things that I might have let just go by. Like, if I owe somebody an apology, if I sit down and I'm honest with myself and I go back over things that popped up, issues that popped up throughout the day, then I'll I'm not somebody that like to hold on to stuff. I'll pick up the phone, or I'll reach out to so and so and be like, my bad. It's not you, it's me. Yeah, accountability, transparency, like just being open and honest with ourselves first. We can be open and honest with each other.
Right. I agree. I agree with everything. Right. You have to own those feelings in Koyo. Like I agree with you. And and that could be another issue too, like not being able to own your feelings. Like sometimes you may be tripping. You may be tripping real hard. And until you sit back there and, do a little self-reflection, then maybe you can analyze that. And like Marie said, I have had similar experiences several times where I have to sit back and be like, yo, you was tripping and you was tripping like mad hard. You can pick up that phone, you can call, you can apologize, you can, yeah. You got caught tripping, got caught in your emotions, all in your feelings, and be like, yeah, yo, I'm sorry. Being comfortable with being apologetic, it's okay. I think a lot of times, a lot of people can allow that ego to get in the way of certain relationships flourishing because of that ego. Let that shit go. Let it go. Ego ain't nothing to play with. Like, gotta let that.
And
Gotta let it go.
sometimes, like what you just said, like it made me think about how a lot of times it's easier to do that with our extended sisterhood, and not it's harder to do within the blood ties, like with the blood relationship. But really and truly they kind of feed into each other. The things that I've learned about myself, because any relationship is really just a catalyst for your own personal growth. But there are things that I would not have been able to recognize about myself outside of, if I didn't have the I'll say that outside, the intimacy of my family relationships, my blood relationships, I could better recognize certain tendencies that I have, right? So, um, you know, I'm a empath. I'm very sensitive, and I came up in a house where that sensitivity is not acknowledged as a strength, um, and it's really like feels like more of a weakness than a strength. But stepping outside the home, I start to see it for what it is, like both sides of that coin, and then I can come back and once I own it within myself, and recognize, uh, that some of the issues with it could come from like an insecurity, not wanting to be vulnerable. Like then I come in and I can play doctor to you know those blood relations. So um, yeah, they really kind of feed into each other.
Yeah. Definitely. Like for me, I know it's been a one where I have been able to analyze different strengths and weaknesses, as like she said, as it relates to the blood ties and as it relates to even just the sisterhood bonds that I'm creating, that I'm wanting and willing for my family in my community. So I know I'm able to look at things differently. And like she said, I'm able to bring different solutions that I couldn't bring before prior to me coming into the tradition that I'm in, the sisters I've connected with, just being able to even analyze certain issues within sisterhood, certain relationships, how to look at things differently, how to, like I said, having that empathy on a whole nother level is something that is serious. And like she said, sometimes it's even harder to do as it relates to those blood ties, just because I believe, you have that comfortability with one another. Hey, they always gonna be around that blood tie. But even being able to work through those differences and those issues, is the one that I'm thankful for, the tradition, the sisters that I've connected with, because it's been an assistance to me on different various areas of my life. So I'm thankful for that. Um, like I said, my sisters are dope. They dope. They dope. They are dope.
Oh, you know too.
um, Equaneve says, how could better sisterhood inspire better brotherhood, or can it do so at all?
Um, um, I think, you know, a person that's honest with themselves and, um, you know, uh, receptive, right? They can get inspiration from anything and anyone. Um, Receptivity is something that I think a lot of people in general don't have naturally, um, and especially men. Um, I'm just gonna throw that out there, but but yeah, I think just being modeling good behavior, uh, that's probably the best way to try to inspire somebody as opposed to um, trying to give them a lecture or whatnot. That doesn't work. Some people have to come to their own conclusions for themselves. Um, so yeah, I think those that have eyes can see if they look. There are things that I feel like uh, we do really well, sharing our feelings, sharing our experiences. Um, it's a certain degree of vulnerability that comes with that men, because of how they're conditioned to be the fixers and
Mm,
protectors and always on guard, that doesn't come naturally to them. So um but yeah, they're like, I think the ones who are closest to those brothers, like their mothers and their wives and their sisters, like um if they will probably have um a better, what's the word I'm looking for? Better chance of influencing like this individual as opposed to um one collective influencing the other collective. Like when you look at um any ATRs or uh traditional like community settings, um there is a brotherhood and a sisterhood, or a place for women to congregate and a place for men to congregate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it should be that way. Like um, these two parties complement one another, but they also have to learn from within their sphere. So, um, yeah, I think it. I don't know. I think it would just be difficult to try to extend yourself past that system.
Right. Um, for me, I would say it's definitely about that duality. Like she was talking about, even being receptive, understanding that there are some things that brothers can learn from sisters and vice versa, some things that sisters can learn from brothers. And when you understand that duality and you understand that balance, like she said, I believe it goes to looking at the inspiration. I don't think a successful sisterhood can necessarily promote the brothers, to do anything outside of what what they are doing. I think it'll be more like an inspirational tool. Um, but I believe that is up to the individuals who are either witnessing this greatness, as she said, whether they feel inspired, whether they have to see it for themselves to see the importance some other place. um I don't think you can just tie it to organic sisterhood. I guess you would have to look at the individuals, and like she said, even putting yourself in certain functions where certain women can be coming together, and then you have the brothers there, have to socialize. um I know, even based on my experience, I know that brothers, they don't have no issues rapping and conversing. Shoot, they might even have a little bit more free time than sisters, to kind of converse and chop it up and do the brotherly thing. So hey, I think it's a great thing that we could all definitely benefit from inspiring one another. Um Organic brotherhood, and seeing brothers sustain that brotherhood, that's inspiring to me as a sister. So I think us learning to inspire each other more is definitely a great tool. And Koyo said it could, iron sharpens iron. Also, you being better causes you to want better and look for that in your mate. So you'll push those around you. If the brother wants more, they'll do more. If not, on them, not us. But I think it has a great impact. I am because we are. Hey, like she said, that right there was a great response in itself too. So hopefully that answered your question, Equine. Yes. And Equine said that was a good response. QM told you that your response was good. So
Oh,
he said sisterhood working at its finest. Dwau, thank you, thank you. That's what it's all about. So I want to take this time to thank all of the viewers. This couldn't be possible without you all. So round of applause. We were sitting here
Yay.
talking to ourselves. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in, for engaging with us. All of that is definitely beautiful. I want to thank Amina for coming in on the show, sharing her experience within sisterhood. I want to thank my brother Born for that wonderful introduction.
yay.
I want to thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I want to thank my sister Meri for embarking on this journey with me. And hey, I feel like it's only greatness from here. And when we talk about sisterhood and we talk about organic sisterhood, this is it right here. No, we're not promoting by any means that we're perfect, but we are all working to succeed and become better than what we are together. And that in itself is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful experience to know that you can talk to somebody and they can look at you and your flaws and say, well, hey, you tripping. I'm gonna help you stop tripping, sister. So and help you grow and help you heal yourself. Even being able to have that a spiritual sister like that in itself is on a whole nother level as it relates to sisterhood. I don't even think we discussed having that spiritual sister that can relate to you as it relates to your spirituality. Um, be able to give you that advice. Whew, that in itself right there is a whole nother experience. And I love all my sisters like no tomorrow. It's a beautiful experience just in itself because it's a bond that you've created with somebody that doesn't have any blood ties. That in itself speaks volumes. I think a lot of times, as it relates to blood ties, we feel like, oh yeah, they're obligated to do this, that, and that for you. But when you create a bond with somebody in whom you never knew in your life, and y'all are able to create a bond, relate to each other, work on your differences, and move forward with things, that right there in itself is beautiful. So I'm thankful to be on this journey with this sister and my sister. So hey, it's all up from here. Thank you, Nkoyo.
See you. See you.
Yeah, we need to have more talk on this on a wider scale. Like this right here is what it's all about. Like if we can all learn to work together and come together to be that greatness together, man, can't nothing stop us. Can't nothing stop us but us. That's the only thing that can stop us from being great is ourselves. So yeah, I wanted to take this time to thank you all for, kicking it with us. And hey, who ready for some meditation? Who who's ready for some meditation with my sister?
Me, I am.
With my sister. With
Where's
my
she at?
sister. You said she pulled
No,
this
I'm done. I'm done being silly, y'all. I promise I'm not this silly.
Oh man.
It's after hours.
After
After hours.
hours.
Right. Okay, so one of the reasons why, like, I'm a big proponent of meditation because for me, um, it's helped to manage my stress levels. Um, you know, and it's really good for reflection, for self reflection, and yeah. So not only that, but it kind of helps pull your attention from all of the noise outside. Whether it's your shorties cutting up or somebody talking that yin yang. Um, it helps to kind of withdraw your attention and start to own your stuff and uh you know correct your the things that you need to work on. So I kind of put together an impromptu meditation for this topic of sisterhood. And it's you know going forward, this is one segment that I hope to continue, within each show. But you are going to, start by getting into a comfortable position. So whether that is, you know, on your laying on your back or um, you know, sitting in a chair, um, take the time to dim your lights if you need. Okay. And this is something that's really good for all the insomniacs that are still on this show right now. Thank you for all your love and support. Meditation is where it's at. Okay. So let's start first by just bringing your attention to your breath. Okay. So you can begin by exhaling, emptying out any stagnant air. Okay. And breathe in, filling up your lungs, your chest cavity. Breathe out. And breathe in. And just pay attention to the rise and fall of your stomach. Now we're going to try to put a count on that. Okay, so I'm going to breathe in on a count of 4 and breathe out on a count of 4. Okay, so breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Continue with your count. And as you continue, notice how you become more and more relaxed. Take note of any sensations of heat or coolness coursing through your body. Let them pull you deeper into trance. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. And as you breathe in, begin to relax more and more. As you settle into trance, imagine the heat of a desert sun beaming onto your neck. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, imagine the heat of the sun spreading to the rest of your body. In the distance, you see a woman walking towards you. With a crown of Mhotep. She reaches for your hand and leads you to a garden oasis. You walk into this place, and instead of feeling drained, you feel energized. Stay with this feeling as you breathe in and breathe out. Here, in this place, you see faces of women who have molded and shaped you, given your life scope. The ones whose presence and words of encouragement gave you consolation in dark times. Breathe in and breathe out. As you breathe in and out, feel the warmth of appreciation spread throughout your body. And stay with it for a minute, breathing in and breathing out. Here in this oasis, you see Mhotep, now distraught and crying at the mouth of a river, determined to take her life. You grab her hand and help her this time. Breathing in and breathing out. You embrace her, and as you do, feel a peace, a warm peace, settle over you. Breathing in, staying with this feeling, and breathing out. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out. Enjoy this feeling of peace and belonging. You're going to continue to carry this feeling into your waking state. On a count of 5, you awake, breathing in 1, feeling that peace radiate from your head into your shoulders. 2, continue that feeling into your abdomen. 3, watch it as it spreads into your legs. 4, continue to watch the feeling as it spreads into your feet. And 5, open your eyes, and as you open your eyes, allow this feeling to radiate into your environment and into your life.
How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling out there? Y'all feeling refreshed? Y'all feeling like y'all want to go hop in the bed?
I know I do.
Y'all want to go hop in that bed now? Meditation.
Mama, I got another show. I can't be. You understand? I got another show after this. I was about to be like, "Hey, I'm done." You heard me, and I was like, "Oh, I got another show after this. I can't be doing all of that."
I mean,
It's a little
Oh man.
pause, right? It's a little pause.
Oh man.
yeah,
But
feel
this
great.
has
Feel great.
been this has been a good night. I've enjoyed myself out here talking to everybody that was viewing, everybody that will be viewing the recording when you get a chance. We appreciate y'all for y'all time and energy and spending time with us. We are thankful for that. So I know Marie can say the same as it relates from her to me. We are appreciative. I'm glad you was able to catch it too, sis. I'm glad you had a great time. I'm glad you was able to catch it. I'm glad we was all able to be here together and engage in this conversation, as it is one that needs to be discussed and, as you said, discussed a little further. Equine, if you over there sleep, Equine, if over there sleep. He over there knocked out. Um, but we are thankful. So I'm so glad we will be having some future episodes coming up in May. So stay tuned. Oh, you gonna paint, Deandra? What
Oh,
you what you
she still got fuel in the tank. Oh
look?
man.
She said she gonna paint. Shout out to Deandra. Um, that's my Sin Arief queen. Shout out to her for supporting us and watching the show with us. Hey, we appreciate all the love. So shout out to that sis right there. I want to know what you're gonna paint. I kind of want to. I wish I
Right?
had had more of that
I was just about to
artistic
say.
ability.
I was just about to say that was such a compliment because that just means she got some good visions from the show and I think meditation. I know the meditation when she was going into it with the nip head, feeling that heat on your neck and you reaching out, nip head hand, so your turn to help her. That was that was good endpoint for me,
Yeah,
especially with the topic of sisterhood.
exactly, exactly. So I don't want to keep y'all much longer. I want to thank y'all for tuning into our first episode talking about sisterhood. And
Yes.
sisterhood is what amazing. It is beautiful. It is one to aspire for. Like sisterhood, true sisterhood. Man, I tell you, when you find you a group of sisters that you can connect with, that's gonna encourage you to grow. That's a recipe for success right there. That's that recipe sauce.
To you.
Yes, yes. So if you are tuning in for the first time, if you haven't had a chance, please subscribe to Goddess Rap on YouTube. Hit us up on Facebook, Goddess Rap. If you want to get in touch with us, as it relates to any interviews, if you want to be on the show with us, have any topics that you would like us to speak about, make sure you can hit up on YouTube. You can hit us up on Facebook. You can also email us at goddessrapgm@gmail.com. If you're feeling like you want to support us in our ambitions, feel free to support us via Cash App, $ Goddess Rap. Um, we thank y'all for tuning in. Much love to the fam. Much love.
Ain't nothing like a woman. One time for the ladies in the place. Ain't nothing like a woman. I just smile every time I see your face. Ain't nothing like a woman. One time for the queens, Mother Earth. Ain't nothing like a woman. Cause a real man puts women first. Ain't nothing like God of the planet, ruler, mother of the earth. Birth man from your womb, God bless you for the hurt. Beauty of the definition of it all shit. My empress of the moon, crown glory I sit. My night turn to day when you come around me. You hold a brother down and make me feel okay. You ain't got to be a supermodel slim figure. I love you as you are, you can be a little bigger. I can see your light shining bright from within. I can see divinity, I see it in your trend. Ain't nothing like a woman dressed in pretty brown skin. Picture perfect goddess to the world, use a 10. Heaven in your eyes, thick thighs, big hips. A heart full of gold, pretty feet, wide hips. I love the way you talk, hear the words of an angel. Keep your head high, never let the world change like a woman. One time for the ladies in the place. Ain't nothing like a woman. I just smile every time I see your face. Ain't nothing like a woman. One time for the queens, Mother Earth. Ain't nothing like a woman. Cause a real man puts women first. Ain't nothing like a head roller, finger snapping, love you out of toe. Dedicated loving, I'm just showing gratitude. I love the way you walk, love your talk, love it all. I love your imperfections and all your little flaws. Your mispronounced words being heard so beautiful. I just wanna kiss you from your head to your cuticles. Take your heels off, let your back rest, girl. I can give a hell about your flat chest, girl. You ain't gotta be what others say that you ought to be. Every man was born from a woman, you were part of me. Hair did, nails did, love it when they ain't. Give me good love and make a brother just bang. You ain't got to wear weave, you can rock it natural. Take your perm out, still pretty, that's factual. Bad to the bone, got a throne for you to sit. You my #1 song, going gold. You ain't nothing like a woman. One time for the ladies in the place. Ain't nothing like a woman. I just smile every time I see your face. Ain't nothing like a woman. One time for the queens, Mother Earth. Ain't nothing like a woman. Cause a real man puts women first. Ain't nothing like a light-skinned woman. Ain't nothing like a brown-skinned woman. Ain't nothing like a dark-skinned woman. Ain't nothing like an overweight woman. Got something I can hold on to. I just wanna put a hold on you. Ain't nothing like a good-looking woman. Ain't nothing like a good-cooking woman. Ain't nothing like you.